So if you're in a heated dispute with airline staff, do you ever think to pull out your phone and hit record? Because according to CBC News, passengers are within their legal right to film disputes, despite often being told otherwise by airline staff. So we want to talk about if recording customer service interactions is super helpful, or maybe it's super harmful. What do you guys think?
Oh, gosh. I mean, I certainly would never do it. I don't think I would ever do it. And maybe it's because I worked in customer service, and I would hate if somebody recorded me on one of my worst days of my worst interactions.
Or if they're in the wrong.
Exactly.
And they're yelling at you.
Exactly. And if that went viral and then that becomes my defining act, like that seems rage baity, right? Like it seems like it's actually,
really does.
I don't think I would ever do it. Would you?
I have done it.
What?
Have done it. Okay, so the situation was actually with an airline. There was, I don't know, a full flight, 200-300 people. We were all in line, and you could see there were only 2 attendants that were checking people in, and people were starting to get nervous, and everyone starts looking at their watches, and it started to get really tense at the desk because you've got very angry customers, and you do have these 2 attendants. There's only 2 of them, but I don't think they were dealing with it very well either. They could have said, we're really sorry, we're gonna do our best, we're sorry we're late, there's only 2 of us. Instead, they were really snappy back at passengers, and I just was like, this is not going well. So I put it live on Twitter, and
no, you didn't.
And I called up the airline, and I said, what is happening here? This was high season. There was no excuse to have only 2 attendants. This was a disaster of their own making. Well, guess what happened? They tweeted me back and said, thank you very much for letting us know. Within 10 minutes, there were 6 attendants checking us all in. Everybody was happy.
So
everybody made the flight.
Where were those other 4 hiding? If they had the 6.
I don't know, but it worked.
That's
But also,
rage
you can
baity.
only do that, I think, if you have a follower count. Like a regular person who it doesn't really engage with social media that much, I don't think they would have that kind of a power, and I think it would just fall on deaf ears.
Yes,
And maybe that's
absolutely.
I don't know.
But would you ever think about like filming that interaction? Like if you talk to one of the people, like the airline attendants, would you put a camera in their face?
Well, I don't know if you remember, we got stuck in LA once together when we were coming home from Disneyland. Do you remember what happened? They didn't have our seats and all these
yes,
things.
I remember.
I regret that we did not record that.
Really?
I do, yeah, because that was a power imbalance, and we as the passengers, we already don't have a lot of rights here in North America. In Europe, they're doing a much better job protecting passengers. In North America, you can have a seat, not have a seat, and if they start coming at me like it's my fault, my phone's coming out.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be helpful and it could be harmful. I think I worked customer service like you, Cynthia, so I'm immediately sensitive because you guys know what the customer service people can't tell you, but it's a mixed bag of nuts out there.
Yes.
People are sometimes a little out of touch with reality. So the idea that everybody thinks now that this is gonna solve the issue where I'm disagreeing with you and it's like, I'm gonna shove a camera in your face, well, guess what's gonna happen? Now things were taking it to the next level.
Yeah.
But then I also know that there are times that if the person did not record, we wouldn't have believed them. And I'm thinking about back in 2020, do you remember that bird watcher, Christian Cooper, and the dog walker, Amy Cooper, not related? And she had her dog off leash and he asked her, can you just put your dog on leash? And she immediately went into this rage and saying, I'm gonna call the police. This is her, I'm gonna call the police and tell them that an African-American man is harassing me, and she did this whole performance.
And strangling her dog at
and
the
strangling
same time.
somebody else's dog. And she went on to make that call, and if he did not record that, this is in New York, and this is a black man, we know that that would have been a different situation, and recording that actually saved him. By the way, he went on to host a show called The Bird Watcher and win a daytime Emmy.
That's a win, you're right.
Which is like a win-win. Talk about a time to bring out your camera.
Glad he recorded.
If there are lots of situations without that footage, would we believe her or would we believe him?
Yeah.
We probably believe her.
But I mean, you know what's the sad thing is that how often do we actually record like good customer service, right? For that to go viral.
True. I just saw one the other day and I was like, why can't we do more of this?
Let's start doing that.
It was like a stranger at an airline desk. So this stranger witnessed something. It was a man and his daughter going to check in, and then apparently the daughter had turned the age where she wouldn't be able to just sit on his lap. So he had to buy an extra ticket for her. And the woman at the airline counter was like, I'm so sorry. And he's like, oh my God, I don't have this money. He stood to the side of the line. He's like, what are we gonna do? And the woman behind him said, hey, how much is that ticket? And bought it for the daughter. And a stranger filmed the whole thing. So the woman who bought the ticket didn't know she was being filmed, or that that's something I would do. I would try to be a hero and then get it on camera.
Oh, really?
And then be like, oh my God, I didn't know you were filming me. But this woman was total altruistic, and I was like, why can't let's film more of that.
We should try that.
Let's make that go viral.
Let's try that.